What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up your WET Array 4 swivel column line array 70 volt speaker. As you can see, it comes with the speaker itself, the swivel bracket for the speaker, as well as 4 concrete screws if you wanted to mount the speaker to a concrete wall, 4 regular screws to mount our speaker to a regular wall, 4 washers, and an Allen key. Now because this is a 70 volt speaker, let me quickly explain how 70 volt systems work. 70 volt amplifiers allow you to run a large amount of speakers at a fixed and constant wattage off that 1 amp. So you can run 100 speakers off that 1 amplifier if you match the watts being drawn by the speakers to the ability of the amp. We can do this by tapping each speaker to a certain wattage amount. So for example, if my amplifier has over 100 watts, I can tap each speaker at 10 watts, giving me the ability to use 10 speakers. Now if you use a multi-zone amplifier, that opens the flexibility of where you can control the audio and how you can have it set up in your space. But the same principles apply. You have to match the tapped wattage amount of your speakers to the zone's recommended wattage amount and you'll be good to go. And from there you'll have independent volume control of your speakers in each zone. If you want to learn even more about 70 volt technology, check out our video on what is 70 volt. Now because this is a heavier speaker, you'll want to be sure to mount it on a spot on your wall with a stud behind it. You can find a stud in your wall by using a stud finder like this one here. So to do that, you're going to place your stud finder on your wall, and from there you're going to circle it in a figure 8 fashion until it catches onto a spot on your wall, like so. This tells us that the magnet built into the stud finder has found the nails inside of the stud. So from here we have the option to mount our speaker anywhere along this line vertically. And generally there are studs spaced 16 inches apart from each other if you wanted to mount multiple speakers. Now from here I can take the mounting bracket and place it on a spot on my wall where I want to have it mounted. You can even use a pencil to mark where your screw holes would go with your bracket. From here we can use a ruler or a level to make sure we're mounting our speaker correctly. The stud finder we're using today actually has a level built in, so we know we're good. So the next thing we're going to want to do is attach the mounting bracket onto the speaker. To do that, we're going to take a screwdriver and take out the screws on the back of the speaker here. Once the screws are out, I can lay the speaker down to make attaching the bracket easier. So now I can take the bracket and line up the side with the opening here to the back of the speaker. Then I'm going to take each screw and line it up to these screw holes here and slightly tighten them to the bracket. Now because we didn't tighten it all the way, we can take the bracket and slide it around to adjust the placement. Once we have it in a place we like, we can tighten the screws all the way to lock it in place. So before we mount our speaker to the wall, we're going to take each screw and washer and feed the washer through the screw. So next we'll take our speaker and line the holes of the bracket to the holes we marked earlier. After that, we're going to line up these screws and washers to the screw holes of the bracket and screw them in using a drill to secure the bracket onto our wall. And remember, we're going to want to use the concrete screws if we want to mount our speaker to a concrete or brick wall. Now we can angle the direction the speaker is facing because the bracket is able to swivel. To do that, I'm going to use the included Allen key and use it to loosen the top and the bottom of the bolt of the bracket. From there, I can swivel the speaker from side to side to pick what direction to face it in. And once it's facing the direction I want, I can use the Allen key to tighten the bolts back up. You can adjust the angle of the speaker further by using the nuts on the side of the bracket here. To do that, you can use either a wrench or a pair of pliers to loosen the nuts, adjust the angle of the speaker, and tighten the nuts back up to lock it in place. So after we've mounted our speakers, we can then connect them to a 70 volt amplifier. Now the wires hanging from the speaker are not made to reach directly to the amplifier, so you'll need some extra speaker wire to connect the speaker to the amp. So I'm going to take one end of the speaker wire, I'm going to connect the red positive end to the white wire here on my speaker, then I'm going to take the black negative wire and connect that to the black wire on the speaker. You can even make a separate hole behind your speaker to run your speaker wire through your wall for a nice cleaner look. Then you'll take the other end of your speaker wire and plug it into either a zone on your amplifier or the direct output. Now as I mentioned before, we can use the tap switch on our speaker so that the speaker will pull the wattage from the amplifier. We have different tapping options for a full customization of sound in any space where these speakers might be installed. For example, if we wanted to set up 10 of these speakers using 100 watts from our amplifier, we can tap each speaker at 10 watts. You can also set up multiple of these speakers through parallel wiring, which just means you're connecting each speaker together by using the positive and negative terminals of the speakers. If you want to find out more about parallel wiring your 70-volt speakers, check out our video on that. So for today, we're going to connect our speaker into a zone on our amplifier. For today, we're using zone 1. So I'm going to take the red wire and plug that into the positive terminal of our zone. Then I'm going to take the negative wire and plug that into the negative terminal of the zone. So now I've tapped my speaker at 40 watts, so it's pulling the most power out of the amplifier. So now I'm going to play some music and hear how the speaker sounds. Alright, here we go. Oh my gosh, that is great. It sounds so good, it's so good. Yeah, what's a bass do? Very good. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your WET Array 4 swivel column line array 70-volt speaker. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.